If you're curious about Botox, this video will help you understand if it's right for you. Personally, I've been getting Botox twice a year for the last 5 years. I've spoken to numerous dermatologists and nurse practitioners and did a ton of research before I started getting it and since getting Botox. And I feel like I've seen a fair amount of confusion around things like when to get started, the types of wrinkles Botox can treat, the areas Botox can treat, and so on. So I'm going to break down Botox so that you can understand what it can and can't do, and you can decide if it's something that's right for you. Hi, I'm Amy. I've been working in the beauty industry for the last 10 years, and I'm here to show you that skincare and makeup doesn't have to be complicated or expensive. I'm sharing tips and tricks that I've learned working with product formulators to develop beauty products, and just through my own trial and error through my 20s and early 30s. So if that sounds interesting to you, then please subscribe and keep watching. Let me just start off by saying that Botox is not something that anyone needs, and it is not for everybody. Aging is honestly a privilege, and wrinkles are just a sign of a life well lived. That being said, Botox is an effective tool, and it is one of the best options for people who are bothered by wrinkles on their face. First up, what is Botox and what does it do? Botox is the brand name for a neuromodulator that weakens or freezes muscles that it is injected into. This in turn can help reduce wrinkles because it freezes the muscles that create dynamic lines so that those dynamic lines are no longer created. There are several other brands that you may have heard of, such as Dysport, Jeuveau, and Xeomin. All of these different brand names really have the same effect, which is freezing the muscles in order to stop the movement and thus stop wrinkles from forming. A lot of people think about Botox and fillers together since they are both injectables, but they're actually very different. Fillers actually add volume to something by filling in space. Fillers can be used to fill in deep set wrinkles. Fillers are also often used to create volume in the face because we lose volume as we age. Whereas Botox acts on the muscle in order to stop wrinkle producing movement. In order to determine if Botox is right for you and if you're ready for it now or might be right for you at a later date, you can ask yourself a few questions and do some assessments. So the first assessment is to assess your skin and to really understand the different types of wrinkles and what Botox can treat and what it can't. There are dynamic wrinkles, there are static wrinkles, and there are fine lines on your face. It is important to understand the difference between these three types of wrinkles and lines because Botox is not the right treatment for all of them. Dynamic wrinkles are the wrinkles that you create when you move your face. Botox specifically targets these dynamic wrinkles because it weakens the muscles that make these wrinkles. So by freezing the muscles, you're no longer able to make those expressions and thus you don't make the wrinkles. Static wrinkles are the lines on your face that come from those dynamic wrinkles. So they're in the places where you see the wrinkles during movement, but they're static because you start to see them when you're not making the movement anymore. It's important to understand that the static wrinkles are wrinkles that are created from the movement though. They're not just random wrinkles on your face. The third type of wrinkle or line are just those fine lines, which you can really get anywhere, but these are lines that are not the result of movement. These subtle, more shallow lines are not something that can be treated with Botox. They may be an indicator that your skin is dehydrated. And the best way to treat these lines is really to hydrate your skin so that you plump it up and fill it with moisture so that you reduce the appearance of those lines. So if you're noticing subtle lines on your face and you're looking to treat those, you want to make sure that your skin is hydrated and moisturized. And in order to do that, you want to use a gentle cleanser. You want to apply your moisturizer to damp skin in order to hydrate it with the water on the skin and then seal it in with the moisturizer. And you want to be wearing an SPF or a sunscreen every single day. You can also try adding in a hydrating essence, serum, toner, or gel. This is a great way to really boost your hydration and plump up the skin. What you would do is apply that hydrating product to damp skin before your moisturizer and then seal it in with the moisturizer. I will link a few in the description box below that I love. Retinoids can also help with this type of fine line because they help boost collagen production in the skin, which will help diminish fine lines over time and just improve the overall appearance of your skin. The hydration and moisturization will give you an immediate anti-wrinkle effect, and the retinoids will help improve that over time. And then of course the SPF is just a preventative measure that will help prevent sun damage, which can create these fine lines. Now that you understand the types of wrinkles that Botox can treat, we're going to talk about the specific areas Botox can treat. Based on the fact that Botox can only treat dynamic lines and the static lines that start to form as a result of dynamic movement, it can only help prevent and soften wrinkles that come from movement. The three most common areas for Botox wrinkle prevention are the forehead, the 11s, which are the two lines that you can get from furrowing your brow, and then lastly, the crow's feet. So the lines that you get around your eyes from smiling. Botox is used in other areas of the face. Some examples would be masseter Botox for treating TMJ. You can get Botox in your upper lip in order to get a lip flip effect or to help with a gummy smile. And there are various other places, but the three main areas for wrinkle prevention are going to be the forehead, the crow's feet, and between the brows. If you're concerned about wrinkles that are not in those three main areas, then Botox might not be the right treatment for you. My recommendation would be to talk to your dermatologist about what would be the best treatment. Now let's talk about what age to start. The best age to start Botox is really specific to every person. The easiest way to determine if you are ready for Botox is to see if you have dynamic lines that are starting to be etched into your skin when you're no longer making movement. The age that this starts to happen completely varies from person to person, depending on things like your skin tone, how much sun damage you have, how expressive you are, and other lifestyle factors. It'll typically be around your late 20s, early 30s for someone with fair Caucasian skin like me. People with more melanated skin will likely not start to see static lines until a bit later. I think because people call it preventative or baby Botox, there is some confusion and people are starting to get Botox in their early 20s. Botox is a preventative treatment because you are freezing your dynamic motion so that you stop your static lines from forming. However, Botox will also soften existing static lines. So it's not like you need to prevent static lines from ever forming. You want to wait until they start to form, and that is the indicator that you're ready for Botox. For people who are starting to get Botox in their early 20s, it isn't necessarily bad for you. I just personally feel like it's a waste of money, and sometimes it can also make people look older than they are. I feel like a lot of celebrities who are in their early 20s look like they could be mid-30s, and that might have to do with all of the work that they've had done, but I think some of it is the fact that their faces are frozen, which looks very unnatural for someone who is such a young age. My recommendation for anyone in their early to mid 20s who's worried about anti-aging is really just to focus on consistent sunscreen use every day and incorporating a retinoid into your skincare routine. Don't waste your money on Botox until you start to see those static lines because it's really not necessary. Now let's talk about assessing the cost. Botox on average costs between about $10 to $20 per unit. This can vary from city to city. When I used to get Botox at my dermatologist, she charged $20 a unit. You can definitely probably find it cheaper in smaller cities. Most often, how much your treatment costs is going to depend on how many units you get. How many units you're going to get really depends on your age and kind of the status of your skin, and then also how frozen you want to be. You can tell your practitioner if you really want to be minimal and look as natural as possible, or if you want more of a frozen look and you really want to minimize movement as much as possible, you can tell your practitioner that and get more units. When I first started Botox, I was going to my dermatologist and I was getting about 10 to 15 units as my baby Botox. After a few years of doing that, I was up to about 30 units. And at that point, it became more cost effective for me to go to Peachy, which is a provider in New York that does Botox for a flat fee, as many units as you need in your forehead, in between the brows, and in the crow's feet area for $425. At my dermatologist, I was paying about $550 for nearly 30 units. Because now I go to Peachy, I actually don't know how many units I get because I don't pay per unit. If you are interested in trying Peachy, you can use my name to get a referral discount. I believe you'll get $50 off your first treatment and I'll get money off next time that I go. I'll include the information in the description box. No pressure at all. I'm not sponsored. I just enjoy going there, and for me, it is the best deal right now. I will say that because there are potential complications, this is a serious procedure. This isn't the type of treatment where you really want to skimp and go somewhere that's offering like a fire sale discount. Now I'll make a quick note on assessing the risk. I'm not really going to go into specifics here because I'm not an expert, but there are definitely potential complications with being injected improperly. The most important thing to do is to find a practitioner who you trust. So a dermatologist, a doctor, a nurse who does Botox often, who's comfortable with Botox, who understands the musculature of the face and understands where to inject to get the desired results. While you do need to be cautious and there are potential downsides, as long as you're going to a trusted doctor who knows what they're doing, you should be totally fine. if the potential downsides are too scary for you, it's not worth being stressed about. Don't get Botox. All right, now we're going to talk about how often you will need Botox. While Botox is a serious procedure, it is also temporary. It's not permanent. The muscles will only stay frozen for about 3 months, but the softening of the wrinkles can last longer. I find that I can wait about 6 months before I start to see static wrinkles reforming that are really bothering me, so I typically go to get Botox about every 6 months. I personally don't want to spend any more than I need to, so I would rather extend the time between Botox as much as possible and wait until I'm really at a point where I'm seeing static lines reforming and unhappy with them before I get Botox again. I don't think going every 3 to 4 months is necessary, especially if you're just starting out. It's also not the type of thing where once you start Botox, you need to keep doing it. If you try Botox and you're not happy with the way that makes your face look, it will fade after 3 months and you never have to get it again. There's nothing wrong with getting Botox for a little while and then stopping. You're not going to have some weird situation where because you have Botox, you're addicted to it now and you need to keep getting it. Your muscles will just start working again and you'll start developing wrinkles over time the way that you would if you had never gotten Botox. There are a few final things to consider, a few final questions to ask yourself before deciding if Botox is right for you. What you want to look like and what you care about with your appearance. Personally, I've never gotten so much Botox that I felt frozen or that I felt like I couldn't make expressions or that my face looked very different. But that being said, it is important to keep in mind if you feel like you are super expressive and you love that about yourself, or you make a specific face that you love and you don't want to have any chance of tweaking that or kind of diminishing that, then Botox is probably not right for you. Do you love that your lines show that you're a person who laughs a lot? That might be more important to you than fitting into society's norms, which tell us that we shouldn't be aging or that once we age, we're less beautiful. On the other hand, it's totally fair if you're frustrated with the look of wrinkles on your face. It can make you look more rejuvenated, look a bit younger, and just feel better about yourself. There are studies to show that Botox can help improve people's mood and improve their self-esteem. If you're a bit torn, there's definitely an option to get a very conservative amount of Botox. And you can also consider only getting Botox in certain areas. Maybe just between your brows really bothers you, but you like to have the lines that you get from smiling. Botox and skincare both have their limitations. Topical skincare can only go so far, and really Botox is the main thing that's going to allow you to see a dramatic difference in your static and dynamic lines. But at the same time, you shouldn't waste your money on Botox if you're not taking good care of yourself and your skin. Over time, your skin can see damage from things like sun exposure, poor diet, lack of sleep, stress, pollution, and all of that damage can contribute to weakened skin over time that is more susceptible to wrinkles. The point is that Botox can freeze the muscles, but the skin is also a factor. So it's important to take good care of the skin as well. Botox isn't just a cure-all. So whether or not you choose to use Botox, things like wearing SPF, getting enough sleep, exercising to reduce stress, eating a healthy diet, and just taking care of yourself can go a long way and should really be your top priorities. If you do decide that Botox is right for you and you're going to invest in Botox, I would recommend that you also invest in wearing SPF every single day and also incorporate a retinoid into your routine. These two things will really help prevent signs of premature aging. If you decide that Botox is not for you, but you do want to try to prevent and treat wrinkles, there are a couple things you can do. Outside of wearing SPF, keeping in mind those lifestyle factors, and incorporating a retinoid. This may sound a little silly, but you can train yourself to be less expressive. You can do something like focus on not frowning when you're reading. This will help you reduce the dynamic movement in order to prevent wrinkles. There are also those patches that you can use, which I have actually personally never used, but they are supposed to be quite effective. They can provide an immediate benefit because they trap hydration and they can plump up the skin to reduce the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. And they also help to smooth out wrinkles because they keep your face in a specific position and prevent dynamic movement. I hope that this video was helpful for you if you have been wondering if Botox is right for you or not. And if you have any questions about Botox, please let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time.